Now we are going to understand how the spinal nerves are being formed. We know that how many spinal nerves are there. You have learned 31 pair of spinal nerves coming out to your spinal cord and how they are actually formed. When you talk about the type, how many types? We have one single type that's called mixed type. And why mixed type? Once we understand how the formation has been done, it will be more clear to us. Okay, so if a question comes, write a short note on formation of typical spinal nerve. What you're going to do, you will be going to page number 198 and take this picture. This picture is half already done because we have done the TS of the spinal cord. We have done the TS. Now just I'm going to elaborate it more. So this much is very clear. First, we have the spinal cord, in which this region is the white matter. Then this H-shaped structure. This H-shaped structure is called as the gray matter. When you talk about this extension, when you see, we have one extension coming from here, another extension coming from this side. That is the dorsal root. Dorsal root is sensory type, so all sensory information is carried, while the ventral root is the motor type. So the quick response towards the muscle, information towards the muscle is sent by the ventral root. So how exactly they are formed? We'll just see. Dorsal root, sensory, ventral root, motor. So motor plus sensory give rise to this part. I'll just go to this. See. Sensory come together with motor, giving rise to one single structure. This single structure is called as the spinal nerve. So it says sensory plus motor. So what it will be? Mixed type. So our spinal nerves are mixed type. We've already done cranial nerve. They were mixed motor and sensory. We have three different types. But in spinal, it's going to be only mixed type because it is formed by sensory plus motor, right? So you have to draw this diagram, TS of the spinal cord, and how the extension comes out from here. The extension of dorsal root. There is a swelling here called as the dorsal root ganglion. What is it made up of? It's neuron. It's formed of unipolar neuron. They come together, and here ventral root come together and join the dorsal root, forming the spinal nerve. What is formed by a combination of dorsal root plus ventral root? Spinal nerve. So when you say the spinal nerve, once it comes out of this intervertebral foramen, I'm going to show you what is intervertebral foramen. It quickly divides itself into three parts, which is that three part here. You can see on page 198. First is ramus dorsalis, ramus ventralis, and ramus communicans. Ramus is very simple word. Ramus means branch. Okay, so the branch that goes to the dorsal side, you call it as ramus dorsalis. Then ramus ventralis, the branch that goes to the ventral side, it is the largest and the longest one. Ramus communicans, जो सबसे छोटा होता है, it goes to the interior region responsible for the you call it as connection to efferent nervous system. We're going to learn that, or we remember as autonomic nervous system. Okay, you remember autonomic nervous system. We've done peripheral, It's part of peripheral only what we are doing right now. Central nervous system we have done. So autonomous we will be doing. In general, if a question comes, formation of spinal nerve, draw this diagram. You should be able to label dorsal root ganglion, nerve fiber, dorsalis, ventralis, communicans is joining to sympathetic ganglion. Remember, sympathetic ganglion, that's responsible for the autonomic movement. मतलब आपका अगर कभी पेट में दर्द होता है तो who's bringing that reflex or the action potential? It is the sympathetic ganglion is bringing to the central nervous system. So just remember, sympathetic ganglion is where it is connecting from the spinal cord through ramus communicans. And you will be able to write down these things. So we'll once again underline here what all you have to write. This is page 197. What type is this? Mixed. Formed out of sensory and motor. And it is formed by joining of the ventral and dorsal sensory root. When the dorsal come together, it forms the ganglion. Okay, ganglion means plural form of neuron. Many neurons together, they form ganglion. Then from where they come out, that place, or just underline this part, it emerges out. Very important word. There's a question also. Spinal cord बंद तो जाते हैं लेकिन आते कहाँ से? How do they come out? They come out through intervertebral foramen. You can see here gap in this vertebral column. This is a vertebral column. The gap from where the spinal nerves are coming out, it is called as the intervertebral foramen. So they can ask you a question, very important question. The gap from where the spinal cords emerges out in the form of spinal nerves, they are called as intervertebral foramen, the gap. ओके आपने कई बार सुना होगा कमर में दर्द है, तो बेसिकली होता क्या है, जो ये डिस्क होता है, ये डिस्क स्लिप हो जाता है, तो इसका प्रेशर इस नर्व के ऊपर जब पड़ता है तो जो इंफॉर्मेशन पास होता है नहीं हो पाता, एंड दिस नर्व बिकम्स रेड. दैट्स कॉल्ड लाइक वेरी कॉमन सिम्टम साइटिका और एनी पर्टिकुलर एरिया जहाँ ये नर्व जा रहा है वहाँ इंफॉर्मेशन पास नहीं हो पाता. यू कॉल दैट पर्टिकुलर डिजीज़. जब लेग मसल्स पे जा नहीं पा रहा तो हम उसे साइटिका बोलते हैं और बोलते हैं बैक पेन हो रहा है, बहुत ज़्यादा दर्द हो रहा है. सो इट्स बेसिकली दीज स्पाइनल नर्व्स गेटिंग compressed because of the vertebral or wrong posture. Nowadays people have neck problem because of the wrong posture when usage of mobile has increased to great extent. So please take care of your posture, stay healthy, stay safe.